February 1959. The Ural Mountains, cold, endless, ancient. A wilderness where snow whispers to the wind and silence stretches farther than the horizon. Here, in this vast white emptiness, 9 young hikers began their journey into the unknown. They were strong, experienced, prepared. They trusted their skill and each other. But the mountain they faced did not care for courage. It did not care for reason or science or strength. It waited quietly, as if it already knew what would come. Weeks later, searchers would find their bodies, scattered, broken, frozen in strange positions. Some barefoot, some without eyes, and no one, not even now, can say with certainty why.
Noctra.
Dyatlov Pass, a name that still echoes through snow and shadow, a story that outlived those who lived it. This is not just a tragedy, it is a mirror, reflecting what happens when humanity meets the wild, and the wild reminds us who truly holds power. At the center stood Igor Dyatlov, engineer, inventor, perfectionist. He organized the expedition, chose the route, and inspired confidence in everyone who followed him. Zina Kolmogorova, lively, fearless, known for smiling even when frost clung to her eyelashes. Lyudmila Dubinina, strong, outspoken, the only woman to challenge Dyatlov directly when she disagreed. Rustem Slobodin, athlete, calm, tireless. He pushed forward even when exhausted. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko, friends inseparable since university, bringing laughter to every frozen campfire. Alexander Kolovatov, quiet and analytical, always documenting, always observing. Nikolai Thibault-Brignol, the thinker, his mind divided between science and philosophy. And Semyon Zolotaryov, the outsider, older, experienced, a soldier who had seen war. He joined the group at the last minute. No one knew him well, and that, too, would one day feed the mystery. 9 lives, 9 stories converging on one mountain. In photographs, they are radiant, smiles bright against the pale snow. Young people full of purpose, their laughter caught forever in the click of a camera. They could not have known they were walking into history. They spent months preparing, gear tested, supplies packed, every item weighed and recorded. Their goal, reach Mount Otorten. Its name in Mansi means, "Don't go there." They laughed when they heard that. Superstition had no place in science. At the Sverdlovsk train station, they waved to friends and family through snow. A few snapshots, smiles, waves, steam curling from the locomotive. "Back in a few weeks," someone called. The words hung in the air like a promise. That night, as the train carried them north, they sang folk songs in the carriage. Someone wrote, "The mood is wonderful." Someone else drew a mountain in their diary. Tall, white, beautiful. They were chasing the purity of adventure, the kind that lives just beyond fear. By January 27th, they reached the last inhabited village. From there, nothing but forest, mountain, and wind. They skied through endless snowfields, their sleds cutting narrow trails through the white. Each night, they built fires that flickered weakly against the cold. They wrote of exhaustion and laughter, of small injuries, broken skis, and the quiet beauty of the mountains. "Everything is going well," one wrote. "We are strong." But as they climbed higher, the forest fell away. The world became barren, no trees, no color, just a horizon of snow and silence. The storm came suddenly. Winds tore through the valley, visibility fading to almost nothing. Still, they pressed on, guided only by compass and instinct. And somewhere in that storm, they crossed a threshold from safety into legend. February 1st, the mountain rose before them, Holat. In Mansi, it means the mountain of the dead. Local legend spoke of vanished hunters, strange lights, and voices carried on the wind. But the Dyatlov group dismissed the stories. They were young, logical, alive. They set up camp on the slope itself. A decision that would later baffle investigators. Why not descend to the forest for shelter? Perhaps they feared losing altitude. Perhaps they wanted the challenge. Perhaps it was simply a mistake. As night fell, the storm strengthened. The temperature dropped below -30. Inside the tent, they ate, joked, and took photographs illuminated by candlelight. Outside, the mountain howled, and in that storm, something happened, something no one would ever explain. The next morning never came. When rescuers arrived weeks later, they found the tent half buried, slashed open from the inside. Inside, food untouched, boots neatly arranged, cameras still waiting to capture the sunrise. Outside, footprints, barefoot, single file at first, then scattered, as though panic had spread like wildfire. 2 bodies at the forest's edge, lying beside the remains of a fire, their hands blackened, their eyes open. Branches above them snapped. 3 more found between the tree and the tent, as if trying to return. Frozen mid-step, their faces peaceful, almost asleep. 4 others, months later, buried in a ravine. Their injuries, impossible. Internal trauma without external wounds, crushed bones without bruises, and one missing her tongue. The snow preserved them like statues, each frozen in their final moment. No evidence of violence, no footprints but their own. No sound but the wind. Whatever happened that night remains locked beneath the snow, frozen in silence, untouched by time. For weeks, families waited. Then the search began. Soldiers, students, volunteers combing through waist-high snow. They found what was left. The torn tent, the silent valley, the wind screaming like a living thing. Each discovery brought more confusion. The footprints, the positions, the injuries. Nothing fit any pattern known to man. The investigators wrote one phrase in their final report. The hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. A sentence both scientific and poetic, because the truth, like the snow, covered everything. Decades passed. Theories multiplied. Avalanche. The simplest explanation, but there was no debris, no collapse, no sign of snow movement. Katabatic wind, powerful gusts that could cause panic, forcing them to flee. But why barefoot? Why so orderly at first? Military testing. Witnesses saw glowing orbs in the night sky. Radiation was real. Was it a secret weapon? A cover-up? Paranormal. From Yeti attacks to alien interference, human imagination filled the void left by silence. Psychological hypothesis. Could infrasound, low-frequency vibrations created by the storm, have induced terror and confusion? Each theory explains something, but none explain everything. And perhaps that is the cruel truth of Dyatlov Pass. That some stories resist endings. The Dyatlov Pass remains silent, eternal. The snow still falls, covering all evidence, all memory. The wind still sweeps the slope, erasing the footprints of those who return. Perhaps it was fear. Perhaps it was fate. Or perhaps it was the mountain itself, demanding respect from those who challenged it. 9 hikers set out to test their limits. Instead, they found the limits of life itself. Even now, when night descends on Kholat, The wind seems to speak their names. 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass remains one of the greatest mysteries in modern history. In 2019, the case reopened. New experts, new science, new hope for answers. Their conclusion: a snow slab avalanche. The world was unconvinced, because Dyatlov is not just a story about snow and wind. It is about human fragility. It is about the limits of knowledge. It is about 9 young lives lost to something vast, cold, and unrelenting. To this day, the mountain draws explorers, filmmakers, skeptics, believers, all hoping to feel what they felt, to stand where they stood, to find what they found. But the mountain gives nothing. Only silence, only snow. Maybe that is the truth, that some mysteries exist not to be solved, but to remind us that wonder still lives in the dark. And so the Dyatlov Pass endures, not as a place of death, but as a question that refuses to fade. 9 souls rest there still, and with every gust of wind, their story continues. To explore more mysteries like this, subscribe and join us on the next journey into the unknown.